Welcome to Live with Suzi and Happy Nowruz, everyone. This is part 8 of the series we have started a while back, and happy to announce that it's been quite popular thanks to Mr. Shane Malek. Shane Malek is a financial advisor and consultant. He's also a president of FMISINC, and he has more than 30 years experience with lots and lots of happy and satisfied clients. We're so lucky to have Mr. Malek and able to tape with him, record shows with him every other week, and bring about the latest about the world of finance, as well as for you guys who are getting to the age of retirement, and do's and don'ts for us to get to that part of the life. Now, in order to get more info, you can go to his website, which is www.fmisinc.com, and or toll-free number 1-800-477-1556. May I remind everyone that since this is our part 8, you may as well go to either his website or Live with Suzi, different social media platform, including the YouTube channel, and check out our other conversations and get more information regarding the retirement plans and all you can do to be able to sustain a better lifestyle as we all becoming to that point of our lives. On that note, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Mr. Shane Malek, and thank you so much for trusting in our business and being here with you, and Happy Nowruz.
Hi, good afternoon to you, Suzi. Thank you for having me. Happy Nowruz to you as well.
Thank you. So, Mr. Malek, tell us about the world of finance, which changes on and off with different rules and regulations. We're so happy to have you with latest information all the time and keep us updated so we know more every time we listen to you as to what to do as we're all getting to that age. And even if we are younger, it's good to have plans ahead. So once we get to the retirement age, we won't panic. And if I may start, I have a couple of questions for our today's program.
Sure.
All right. Would you please tell us and our viewership and listenership about the benefits of actually a living trust? I hear about it. I do have one. I want others to know about it.
Yes, it's a good question, actually. It's one of those things that unfortunately it's lost in the world of procrastinations and all that. So it's very important to have it, obviously, particularly if you own a real estate in the state of California, or anywhere for that matter, but in the state of California. One of the things that it's important about real estate is for everyone to understand is this, that because we live in a community state, if you're married and you don't have a living trust, typically whatever recordings that you may have on your real estate, it would pass on to your spouse, and that should be fine. But beyond that, to next of kin, kids, or if you don't have any kids, to next of kin, your relatives, friends, family, whatever you have, it's going to be a bit difficult. So it'll go through probate, unfortunately, and then probate will have issues of its own. It's very time-consuming here. And then also, of course, the cost involved in order to hire an attorney and go through that process. So it's very, very, very important to have that when you own a real estate. When it comes to investments, though, as to whether it's your retirement money or you have money elsewhere, it all depends. Typically, financial institutions are pretty good in dispersing assets when it comes to beneficiaries. So you can have either named beneficiary, which is quite faster, in terms of disbursement, and it's easier in so many ways. But that also has its own problems. For instance, if you have a younger beneficiary and you do not want to have a large sum of money to be dispersed as quickly in one lump sum, then you'll have issues. Then you'll have to go to living trust and set it up as such that a trustee or someone will take care of that situation. But then if you don't know anyone, there are companies for a fee who will do that, or if you can have a relative as a trustee to do that for you. So it's pros and cons, but a living trust is a must, particularly if you have a real estate in this state. So, and it's other thing that I can also add is because I have, for instance, normally I talk about issues that I have in the week or 2 weeks before, and I try to share it with your listeners. So one of the issues that normally in living trust is important is that anything and everything in this country can be contested. So you can you can do whatever. Well, for instance, I can go to, if anybody dies, I can simply say that this person promised me to pay an X amount of whatever. Now, I'm not going to get anywhere. But what I've done in the interim, I'm going to prolong this process and keep everything in the court system. So for you, in order to get rid of me, you have to hire an attorney and do all sort of kind of things in order to do that. So it's always important to make sure that everything is done legally right and you understand all the consequences of not having these elements. So it's important to have that. I had an issue this last week, actually, with another family that I have, and same issues. Two brothers, parents decided to do it this way. That's entirely up to the parents. It's not the problem of the kids or the attorneys. And once it's designed and set up, and then once it's basically, unfortunately, in this case, one person passed away, what's going to be is if you contest this in the court, and most brothers and siblings do, then it's going to be an issue. In this case, we have an issue. It's going to be one of those long processing court cases. He's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to get anywhere. But in the interim, somebody has to pay these costs. With the trust, you try to avoid these as much as possible.
Are there only one living trust, or do we have different types of living trusts as far as like the name is concerned, or are there?
I don't want to get into the legal issues of what's what, but generally, no, there are a whole sort of different types of living trust you can have. But however, the simplest way of setting up a living trust for people that have one real estate is really for that purpose. It's the easiest thing that can be done. However, no, trusts are all sort of, you want to have an irrevocable trust basically set up for you and your family. And but there are a whole array, the type of living trust that you can get into, and I try to really not get into it. Really, one needs to talk to an attorney for that. But there are more than one, obviously.
And if people who are listening to your conversation right now, if they need help with finding an attorney regarding living trust, do you have someone in your office or someone that you can refer them to, or is it something they have to do their own due diligence and find out?
Well, the due diligence is always good. However, because I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm a big promoter when it comes to doing the living trust. I really would like to have everyone to have it here, is because it's one of those things that whether you want it or not is going to happen to you. Is that I want to make sure that all the clients that actually I'm dealing with are, so yes, we do have an onboard attorney that deals with the living trust, and we do that. However, my intention is to make sure that people understand you need one. Generally, every family does know someone or someone that refers them to someone, so that's fine, as long as they speak to an attorney and understand what the ins and outs of that is. Otherwise, it's really it's up to the individual as to who they're comfortable with. So they got to, just like everybody else you're hiring, you got to interview who you're talking to or hiring.
Totally.
Let me just add on one quick thing. One of the things that I kind of briefly mentioned today as well is the investment part. When you have some money, and this happens all the time. We had a case this year that someone unfortunately committed suicide in the late 60s. Wow. So it was very unexpected. Obviously, there was the living trust involved, and there were some beneficiaries that went to the grandchildren in this case. It's always good to have a trustee that takes care of people that are much younger. Well, if they're not of the age yet, meaning they're under 18, minors, definitely what happens is these companies will not release money to people under 18. So they have to have someone that, basically older, that age of 18 and responsible, or in this case, for instance, we had a cousin who was part of the beneficiaries and handled it easier. However, generally, you have to have someone that does have some sort of a power of attorney or a living trust to be able to disperse the funds kind of the way that the person wanted initially. You do not want to have, say, $500,000 to go to a 20-year-old or 19-year-old. You can always have another trustee to sort of pay sort of an installment payment for education, let's say, or living expenses. And then at a certain age, you can then decide to release the whole sum to that person when he's 28, 29, or 30. So you can do all kind of things with this living trust. And I always recommend when you have a younger beneficiary, you would always do it. And then also, I would never recommend anyone to choose a beneficiary who's a minor, because it's going to create problems. And in most cases, it's best to have a guardian that takes care of someone who's under the age of 18.
Excellent points. And as always,
thank you very much for your time, and we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Suzi.
Suzi continues. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.